John!
What?
Red 7!
I don't know what Red 7 means.
Hot route!
I don't. What is hot route?
Will you just go stand on the other side, please?
Down!
Come on.
Ready, down, set, hut, 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 hut!
Hit me! Booyah! That's what we call a sack lunch. Nom, 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 nom.
It's time for the Soonerscoop.com postgame show presented by Eskridge Lexus in Oklahoma City. Eskridge Lexus is the official travel partner of Soonerscoop.com podcasts. Now, here's your road crew, Carrie, Eddie, and Bob, wrapping up all the action and reaction from this week's game.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Kerry Murdoch along with my cohorts, Eddie and Bob, as the Sooners have finished game number 2, and they won it 49-21 over UCLA. It wasn't always pretty. It wasn't always a sure thing as UCLA took a 7-0 lead, but in the end, 49-21. If you're Oklahoma, you played a Power 5 opponent, you move on, and I think, fellas, the most important thing is the defense looked good once again.
It was pretty impressive. I thought that from a, I guess, not a technical standpoint, but just from a play-calling standpoint, I thought Mike Stoops had one of his better games.
You mean Bob Diaco?
Bob Diaco, yeah. Sorry, message board. I thought that Mike Stoops was excellent today, and it certainly helps when you have guys that can actually get after a quarterback, and, you know, they have 6 sacks today.
Did they get after the quarterback?
It was, I don't know.
Kenneth,
I think if you're an OU football fan, the defense today should make you feel a little funny in your pants. There's no doubt about that.
Kenneth Murray made a tackle.
He made 9.
He made 9.
He was really good today.
Played really well right from the jump. I mean, it's just 12 tackles for loss. They didn't have more than 8 last year, and they get 9 last week. Now they up that to 12.
I thought they played with a kind of a sense of an attitude, too. And it probably started with Kenneth Murray there in the middle and basically just kind of trickled down throughout the entire defense today. Its special teams were excellent again. Shane Beamer, we gave him a lifetime contract last year. Last week, yeah. He gets a lifetime contract. All of his kids get scholarships to OU.
I would just like to point out that I am becoming increasingly more uncomfortable with your analogies about doing well on the football field and having boners in the stands.
Well, when defenses play well, it should give you some type of special happy down there. They were the secondary too. I thought was outside of the long Caleb Wilson play in the first quarter, I thought that they played pretty well. I mean, that was a bad matchup, and they kind of knew that going in. And I was kind of surprised UCLA didn't take advantage of it more, but defensively, that's kind of the talk of the day. And then obviously the second story is Rodney Anderson and what his status is moving forward. It did not look good the way that they were taking care of him down on the field, and then even in the second half when he came back out on the sideline.
Okay, you brought up Rodney Anderson. Now everybody needs to start drinking, which Eddie and I are both enjoying
Pretty good.
I'm about to enjoy.
Pretty good.
DNR from Coop Ale Works. I've been looking forward to this one. I bought it in the middle of the week, and I was just waiting until the podcast. 10% alcohol by volume. I know people that are afraid of this drink. They don't want to drink this. It has a toe tag on the thing. Because it
pretty good.
Messes them
it's
up.
Up there on the alcohol.
I will say this.
Scale.
The smell is fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
The DNR, I'm reading the description. It's a Belgian-style dark ale, the culmination of Central and Western European malts. Noble hops, candy sugar, and a traditional Trappist yeast. Notes of dried fruit, cinnamon, and vanilla. It's time for a taste.
And I'm not taking you home, Eddie.
I would hope you wouldn't, Bob.
Wow. Wow. All that I just read, I just tasted it. The candied sugar and then the cinnamon and the vanilla, I like it.
It's very good.
All right. That's my first drink, so it's going to be too hard to get messed up. By the way, Lexus, is sponsoring the podcast. We actually just set up travel plans for 2 weeks. We're going to go up to Wichita, Kansas, and see one Marcus Hicks in person.
For real this time.
Driving our Eskridge Lexus for real. I think I cut that out of the last show, actually. So nobody was the wiser. So let's get to this.
Eskridge Lexus is all about embracing the best. That's why they are the official travel partner of the Soonerscoop.com podcasts. So it's time for us to recognize the Sooners' best with our Eskridge Lexus Player of the Game.
All right, the only question for this one is, will it go to an offensive or defensive player, I think? Because offensively, I'll just throw it out there. I think we all know CeeDee Lamb is the guy that is most deserving. Seven receptions, 146 yards, a touchdown, and maybe the best non-catch I've ever seen on Owen Field.
That was probably that. I'm counting it as a catch. That was the best catch I've ever seen.
It was just out of bounds.
Yeah, he was just out of bounds.
It wasn't a legal catch.
But it was close. I mean, he almost dragged his foot in. That was unreal. He had an excellent day. Kind of the day that I think a lot of people kind of figured, not necessarily that he would have, but it was definitely after last week, and there were questions on the message boards and all that kind of stuff about where's CeeDee Lamb. Well, we found him today, and it's 7 receptions, 146 yards, a touchdown, a pretty impressive touchdown grab too, there in the south end zone. So he was extremely, extremely good today, and he kind of stepped up when they needed him the most too, with Marquis Brown going down with cramps at one point.
Yeah, I don't know if people were questioning so much what Lamb could do or the fact that Kyler Murray just hadn't been looking CeeDee's direction.
He didn't in game one, didn't in Calcaterra's either.
Right, I mean, because you look at his 2 catches from game one, it was with Austin Kendall, so you needed to see that Murray could find someone other than Brown, Lamb, and 7 catches, the 146 yards. But also the 66-yard punt return, and that was a really nice moment for him because obviously the punt return unit for the Sooners the last couple of years lacking quite a bit, and for him to get that going to go along with what he does as a receiver, just another element to what makes him so dangerous.
They've maybe made more plays on special teams in the first 2 games, in the first 8 quarters, than they did in the entire 2017 season. I mean, is that crazy to say?
No.
Just as far as the return side of the game, the block punt, obviously, last week against Florida Atlantic, it was, and Lincoln Riley talked about it a little bit after the game, just as far as I think he even said that he sucked last year at managing those duties and maybe putting too much on Jay Boulware's plate. So Shane Beamer, just excellent job getting those guys out there, and it was really impressive. Tre Brown, he's fast.
Ask and you shall receive, Eddie. So here's Lincoln Riley talking about special teams.
It's just been a true conscious effort with us. I mean, when we went back and looked at the last couple of years, I think we all felt like that we needed to take a bigger step, special teams, that has got to become a weapon for us. And it's been just such a collaborative effort. Again, I've said many times, I had way too much on Jay Boulware last year, which was my fault. I don't think I did a very good job as the head coach. Kind of serving my role in special teams, both kind of getting coaches ready, getting players ready, the emphasis, the practice structure. I mean, I stunk at that last year. And so, that's something I knew I needed to do better. We needed to emphasize more. And then I think, some of the quality recruiting classes stacking up, you see some of that depth, and you see a lot of those guys starting to get their chance to play on special teams. And when your 2s and 3s are better, it shows up in 2 situations. It shows up when you have injuries, and it shows up on special teams. Right now, our 2s and 3s are better, and we're playing better there.
Okay, so I think as far as the Eskridge Lexus player of the game, offensively, we can all agree it's CeeDee Lamb or bust.
Absolutely, he was. That's the type of guy I think that when you think of highly ranked kids coming out of high school, and I think he is most certainly a future NFL type player with that body. That was a dominating performance today from CeeDee Lamb, and I think that's good news moving forward.
Collective unit, defense, single player, Lamb.
Well, let me ask you, if you had to name one guy off the defense today.
Probably go Kenneth Murray.
You got to go
Kenneth
Murray. Yeah.
I thought that he kind of set a tone, especially in that first series, and even in the first quarter. Really was
Mark Jackson did lead the team in tackles.
Mark Jackson played really well today, and I think that's good news as well. Just as in regards to they're looking for somebody at that spot, but I guess you could make an argument for the defensive line as well. I mean, they played.
I love that Mark
They
Jackson
played
had a good
really
day
well today.
Just because all the haters on the boards that just freaked out about Addison Gums.
Yeah, that was.
But by the way,
it's been a weird week at that position.
They were it was Addison Gums or Mark Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is
But Addison Gums would have been the starter. It's just like Curtis Bolton was an or with Caleb Kelly. By the way, stop asking us where Caleb Kelly is. He's backing up Curtis Bolton.
Curtis Bolton had 8 tackles, 2 for loss, 1.5 sacks. He's doing just fine.
The debate is over. Curtis Bolton's just a really good football player.
Yeah, he's a really good football
He's better
player.
than Caleb Kelly.
Right now.
Right now he is. And I
That
think
doesn't mean that Caleb Kelly can't get better.
No. It
Because his
doesn't.
ceiling is higher as an athlete.
Sure, as a player it's probably a little bit higher, but I would take 11 Curtis Boltons, and I know that's so cliche to say, but I'd love everything that he has brought to this defense from a
Almost as much as Bob Diaco.
Yeah, almost. from an attitude standpoint, I don't know if leadership would be the right word, but it seems like Curtis Bolton is a staple right now in this defense, and him and Kenneth Murray played really well today. I'd say that was probably some of the better linebacker play that we've seen.
Kenneth Murray would be your guy if you had to go with one guy.
Probably so, yeah. I
So,
think so.
You know what? We'll give it to both of them. Not that they get a Lexus out of it or anything. But CeeDee Lamb offense, I agree. Kenneth Murray would be your standout on the defensive side. By the way, I want to mention to you guys, Eskridge Lexus in Oklahoma City, they've got a limited number of 2018 models remaining. You guys can save a ton of money on the 2018s because they got big rebates from Lexus and big discounts from Eskridge. They've also got a special sale price for all Sooner Scoop listeners and subscribers on not only 2018s, but 2019s too through the football season. So if any of you ever thought about buying a new Lexus for you or your spouse, now's a great time to do it. Just go to Eskridge. They listen to the podcast. They subscribe to the website. They're big fans of everything that we do. Love for you guys to help support them. They'll make it the easiest car buying experience of your life. And you can trust that you're going to get an awesome deal with the Sooner Scoop special. Just go in and tell them, hey, give me the Sooner Scoop special. No annoying doc fees, no other BS that they tack on to the end of deals. So go see our good buddies, Ed Eskridge. He was fired up about the first episode. We're tracking number 2 on iTunes right now. Of course, that's kind of a stupid new podcast thing that always happens.
Looking back in the
People
rearview
always
mirror at
brag
that bitch
about-
Clay Travis.
Yeah, it's such a bitch move. What he does too is he puts his podcast in the college and high school.
Oh, does he?
And
I
he's
didn't
not
even
a
notice
college
that
and high
was,
school podcast.
Okay, I got what you're saying.
He's trying to play in the kiddie pool, basically, trying to dominate and say I kicked everyone's ass.
Sounds very Clay Travis.
It's very Clay. It's so troll.
Surprised he's not race baiting while he's doing it.
All right, so we talked about some of the special teams things with Lincoln Riley. By the way, did we see the best new punt returner since Alex Ross, or kickoff returner since Alex Ross in Tre Brown today?
Tell you what, he almost took 2 back today.
Yeah,
and I was kind of giving him shit after the game. I asked him if he was catching a lot of heat for getting caught from behind, or getting caught instead of
please tell me
actually
you didn't
taking
ask
it back.
him. Tell him that it gave people boners to watch him.
No, I just asked him if he caught a lot of heat on the sidelines about it, and he laughed and said, yeah, he didn't realize that the kicker was coming over the top there, or not the kicker, but somebody tracked him down.
UCLA had speed on their team, man. I mean, that was a different looking team than we saw a week ago.
Jalen Phillips and Lucier South.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw him at rivals events growing up, but those guys, they've
got speed.
They're fast and they're big. Like Jalen Phillips is going to play in the NFL at some point. And did he get hurt today?
Yes, he did.
I saw him walking with his without his shoulder pads.
I think he might have even left to go back to the locker room.
Yeah, he was coming out of the locker room, out of the south end zone there when I saw him, and he walked in front of me. But it was another. You can bitch and moan about how the offense played, and they definitely weren't They weren't on rhythm, I would say, like they were a week ago.
No,
but
it was
at the same time, it was
when they had that drive, those drives in the third quarter, those kind of back-to-back drives. That was the one time you felt like, okay, this offense is really clicking. Before that, there were a few big plays here, but it seemed like they were struggling. They were getting a lot of third downs. There just wasn't any consistency or anything easy. The running game wasn't really going. I think you could argue that the offensive line kind of had a rough day today.
It looked like they did a little bit, and I thought it was interesting that Creed Humphrey gets his first career start today. I have to think that had something to do with the 380-pound nose tackle, maybe going with a little bit more strength instead of brains, maybe as far as Alvarez and Creed go. But it will be.
They had a big guy, yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, I think he was like 360, 380 something. I mean, he's
powder blue hides your fat. Maybe that's the key. Maybe I should start wearing more powder blue.
Well, that's why I wore a vest today. They have things that I didn't even realize the jerseys are put on this way, but they zip up on the side. UCLA's.
They're Adidas, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like a scrub almost, and then it zips up on the sides. I saw them putting them on down below the stadium in between or before the game. I thought that was interesting.
Outside of that, let's talk about the defense a little bit because they were outstanding. Mike Stoops, you talked about earlier. You talked about dialing up the pressure, and this is, guys, really one of the first games in a long time. And Lincoln Riley kind of said something about it, like, it looks a lot different when we just don't have one guy that we rely on. And Obo, he was kind of taking a shot at the defenses of the past, like. The only way we could get pressure was with this one guy. But the design, the play calls they had today, Trey Norwood, I remember,
that was a great
was
call.
on a blitz. But they were sending Curtis Bolton on blitz. They had Buki was lined up to blitz. They were coming off the edges. They were coming through the middle.
Buki almost intercepted that one.
Oh, yeah.
That was, that's going to happen at some point.
To it.
Over the next 3 years, that will happen at some point. And Kenneth Mann got his hand on a ball as well.
Okay, so it's been 2 games now. No turnover for Buki. Will we hear cries of
overrated?
What's wrong, or is he overrated?
I don't know. I think he's.
Are we that?
I don't think so.
Close?
I don't think so because I think he is in the upper echelon of this guy can't screw up. Anything he does, it's like, oh well, we'll make excuses for him.
And it's not a Buki. It's not a Buki problem. They didn't get a turnover today. They have one turnover in the first 2 games.
Yeah, that's the next evolution of this defense is to create some turnovers. By the way, Robert Barnes did not play today, the guy that had a turnover last week. But he is expected to be back.
Yeah.
And by the way, Charleston Rambo, congratulations. You're on the field. Catch a football.
Hey, that's the stock report. You're blowing it.
Tanner Mordecai threw 2 great balls. One to Charleston Rambo, and then the other, was that to Jalen Robinson?
No, Jones.
It was Jones?
Michael.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Jones,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they both dropped him. So, yeah, his QBR didn't get helped out today by his teammates. It was, yeah.
By the way, Lincoln Riley was asked, I'll play this real quick. He was asked about Austin Kendall and where he was.
Was Austin Kendall close to being able to play today?
Yeah, very close. Very close.
And he ran out of the halftime.
He did.
Huddle.
He ran out. He looked good.
He was jogging around before the game and throwing the ball around. I think it was one of those situations, if he absolutely had to go at some point, if this was a situation that, a Big 12 championship or something like that, I think he probably would have gone, but they went ahead and held him out, and I would be surprised if he wasn't in uniform next week. Weird deal with Marquis Overton, too. We found out, what was that?
Yeah, you kind of got tipped off that there was an emergency appendectomy, and I couldn't nail down exactly who the player was. Someone told you starter, and
definitely not a starter.
It has to be Neville Gallimore, but it wasn't. It's what happens when women get involved. Just gonna tell you.
Oh well, it was.
Nurses.
It was.
Could have been a male nurse, I guess.
It was. That's a weird deal. He's gonna be out for a couple weeks.
And you could kind of see how he's needed.
Yeah, because he's the run stuffer. You look at Neville Gallimore. He comes in on third down, obvious passing situations. He's still not that run stuffer that Q is.
Okay, let's go to Mike Stoops because we talked a lot about this when we were talking about the Eskridge Lexus Player of the game. Who would we name on defense? And guys, it was just interesting that we could actually have a debate about who on defense should have been the player of the game, because a lot of times that's not been easy to do. And here's Mike Stoops kind of talking about just developing playmakers overall. I think I'd asked him the question. Mike, you talked about, needing playmakers, adding pieces. Where you are now after 2 games, is this maybe the best you felt about your defense, your first team defense at this point?
It's the best I think I feel about their personality, their willingness to work, their willingness to be coached and prepare. I think it's a really good group. They're by committee. I think when we play together, we can be effective. We don't have a bunch of guys that just jump out at you, but we have 11 guys that are playing together, more together. We're more inclusive as a group, and that bodes well for your long-term success. I don't think there's any selfishness. Everyone talks about the lack of leadership, but we've got a bunch of good guys that are working hard, and they come to practice every day and play hard. So that gives us a chance.
And I just think you look at everyone up front. You look at from Monty Bledsoe to Dylan Fa'amatue to
nice job on the pronunciation.
I don't know if I'm right or not.
It sounded good.
He's going with it.
It sounded great. It sounded great.
Confident.
Kenneth Mann. Just go. Mark Jackson led the team in tackles today. What the hell? What a change in a front seven in a year. They've had years where they've gotten really good. When they beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, that defensive line just continued to progress and progress and progress. We've never seen, I can't remember the last time we've seen a defensive line come out after 2 games and go, they're pretty good.
Couple of things I like from Mark Jackson, because I did get a chance to talk with him when the game was over. One, he admitted this was his best game. Sometimes I get a little peeved when players try to say, I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing, just trying to help the team out. Mark was pretty quick to say, yes, this is the best game that I played, and that this has been a struggle the last couple of years. He was a big-time recruit, 2016 class, and just playing behind Obo and not sure if he was going to do anything this year. It was good to see him actually show what he can really do.
It's amazing what a good defensive line that can get pressure by themselves can do and help a secondary. And we talked to Tre Brown and Justin Broyles after the game about it, just as far as it makes their life so much easier when you have guys that can get pressure on a quarterback.
And it's not like that quarterback was just a statue back there.
No, the guy can move. And I think maybe not at the end of this year, next year in 2019, when OU goes out to Pasadena, UCLA will be a top 25 team. I guarantee you.
I miss El Cholo.
We'll have to go by. Great Mexican in Los Angeles.
You got to go back to the original
Great
one.
Mexican food.
I think there was a murder that night.
Yeah, that's fine.
In the parking lot.
It's fine.
Which just made it taste better.
Hopefully by then I'll have a teardrop underneath my right eye.
All right, wait.
Justin Broyles made some plays. Tre Brown plays the run really well. Anybody else feel like they noticed that?
You're right. You're right.
I think they have some guys that can tackle, and I thought it was interesting the three rotation at cornerback.
Legitimate 3-man. They were really going back and forth. Norwood, Brown, Motley the entire game.
I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but I was the one that said move Tre Brown to safety if he wasn't going to play corner.
But he's not safety.
No, I know he's not. I'm saying if he wasn't going to play corner, you need to move him to safety while you're moving Broyles and Jordan. Jordan Parker kind of had a rough day.
Yeah, I think he's kind of getting not passed up, but they have some other guys.
He just hasn't returned yet from surgery.
Justin Broyles made a couple plays today. The secondary is starting to iron itself out, and I think that's good news, but it all starts up front.
I just had another taste of my Coop Ale Works DNR. It reminded me it is time for this.
The game is over. The stats are in. Now it's time to grab a Coop Ale Works beer and raise a glass to our play of the game.
All right, it is the Coop Ale Works play of the game. And guys, I am not sure where I'm going with this.
I think you could go a couple places.
there was no blocked punt that led to a 14-point swing.
No, but I am going special teams because the Tre Brown kick return when you're down 7-0 and your offense is stumbling, and then boom, you do that and you lead to a 12-yard scoring drive and everything gets going, and then you see the excitement again when Tre Brown catches the ball. Fans are giddy. They're holding their breath, waiting to see what he could be able to do because he's got that type of speed, that type of vision. And so even though it didn't result in a touchdown, Tre Brown's kickoff return for me is the play of the game.
That was a big play. I wouldn't say it was getting stagnant because it was so early in the game, but for them to be able to punch right back and get back into the game, I thought that was pretty important. Obviously the CeeDee Lamb grab would have been number one if he would have been able to make it. But I think that it's tough to go against either of those special teams plays. I thought that in a way, every play that Kenneth Murray made was a big play. It just, I don't know if you could say that any of them were a play of the game type thing.
Hard to say anything on defense would have been play of the game type.
The CeeDee Lamb, I don't think people are giving enough credit for the touchdown.
No, it was amazing.
That was a really good throw first off, and then for him to come down with it, I thought that was pretty good.
Like I said, to have the strength to keep that guy out of his catch radius to where the ball came to him in the first place was a very underrated part of that touchdown.
Kind of interesting. You think it kind of pissed him off that... I guess we can talk about here in a minute. I don't want to get off the track of the plays, but I think it kind of pissed him off that he didn't start today.
I think it did.
I kept trying to push his button. He would not give in.
He's a happy-go-lucky guy, though, too.
He said he was happy for A.D. Miller to get the start. Didn't make it at all sound like he was, at least he didn't say he used it. He had to have used that motivation.
I'm going to tell you my play of the game. It's not a good one.
Ooh, yep.
It's Rodney Anderson leaving with a knee injury because...
Ooh, go the other way with it.
Yeah, to me, that could affect the season unlike any other play that happened. I mean, that play has more ramifications, potentially, than anything else that happened today.
Not
that they can't rebound.
No, I think that, and unfortunately, I think that OU has to operate over the next... few days. Obviously, we'll have probably a announcement or something by Monday on what the severity of that injury is. But I think OU has to operate moving forward that they're not going to have Rodney Anderson the rest of the year.
I agree.
That play's so scary because it didn't even look like anything happened.
I originally thought he got a helmet on the knee.
I don't know. What I mean. Like, I'd heard patellar tendon was the first thing that I'd heard. But, I mean, it's not like... You remember when Andre Robertson, I mean, that's what he did for the Thunder, and that was a gruesome injury.
Yeah, right. He was in, like, severe pain.
The way... Just watching the replay, it's either a medial collateral or an ACL or a meniscus. I mean, to me, it's kind of that thing where your leg plants and something explodes. But, I mean, he was planning all the way through, like... I don't think he realized he had done something until he started to get up.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was very weird. It was very weird the way he
for a guy that can box jump the way he can, for that to happen, it blows my mind.
It's a freak injury, and it kind of goes within line
with
what
everything. Everything he's had to go through.
You can't not feel sorry for the guy, even a black-hearted person like myself.
I just totally screwed this segment because this is raise a toast to the play of the game. Nobody's raising a toast to Rodney Anderson tearing a knee. I'm sorry, Coop Ale Works. I have failed you miserably.
Can we raise a toast to
TJ Pledger?
Soul?
We raise a toast, to Rodney Anderson and tell him to go get some of this DNR because that's going to make him feel better tonight.
Could be the only thing that does.
It might be the only thing.
And it'll accelerate the curve to TJ Pledger, who really looks so comfortable.
Pledger looks good, but
I like him.
I'll tell you what.
He's not Roy Finch.
Your boy Marcelius Sutton, I thought he flashed a little bit again today.
I'm totally wrong.
And he's the guy that's going to get carries. I mean, they're going to ride Sermon, obviously, but I would think that Sutton is the guy next in line.
He does so well pass protection. That was something I watched a lot because I get it. A lot of people don't think Sutton is the answer at running back, but he was doing a better job. Yes.
I mean, I'm not here to I'm not one of these guys that's here to hold a grudge against somebody. You're full of it. He'll never be any good. I don't care what you saw with your own eyes. I'm right. I'm not that guy. I'll be happy if he's, to me, been a lot more physical than I thought he was. He's run through trash. He's run through tacklers. I've been impressed. And I do think there was something he said last year about having an injury that he was playing through. Wasn't there?
Yeah, he was going through something.
I don't know if it was a fracture,
and then
he
broke his toe during the spring.
Yeah.
So that was one. So you expected to see him make that growth heading into 2018 spring, and you didn't because that broken toe. So he looked just as slow and just as bad as what you remembered from the previous season.
All right. Well, that is your. Let's be clear. I guess we're going with Rodney Anderson, but I don't.
I mean, we can cop out and go Tre Brown return if we want.
Yes, let's go Tre Brown. That's something to raise a glass to.
Yeah, it's a lot happier.
Yes.
A lot happier.
I'm sorry, Coop Ale Works, for trying to destroy. By the way, the response that we're getting on social media from people that are either trying Coop Ale Works, feel free to let us know. There was a guy today before the game started with a native amber, and he was like, I love this beer. Thanks for introducing me. You guys that are out there trying Coop Ale Works, let us know and tag Coop Ale Works because it makes us look good. It's been amazing to see kind of how this is connected with people through the podcast. I want to remind you guys, Coop Ale Works is they're a local craft brewery. They've been around for 9 years in Oklahoma City. They've got 7 different year-round beers. We're trying the DNR tonight. It's a bold beer. I like it better than the IPA just because it has more flavors and the IPA. A lot of people love it. I think that's your favorite beer, Eddie.
Yeah.
It's very citrusy.
Yeah,
which I don't lean towards that. I like more hoppy and kind of darker notes and things like. This is almost drinking a beer that is also doubles as liquor, as a it's a lot of people drink it in a bourbon glass. I've noticed.
That's good.
I like it very much.
You can tell. I enjoy it.
I have to go get you another one?
Maybe here in a minute, yeah.
But anyway, they've got 7 year-round beers and 4 seasonals. The Oktoberfest is out right now. It is also one of my favorites. So make sure you stock up on your tailgate with some of Coop's F5 IPA. Or my personal, but the Horny Toad Blonde is a revelation. That is, if you want to say, okay, what's so great about Coop Ale Works and local craft beer, go get a Horny Toad Blonde because it just opens up your palate.
Or get a horny blonde. Either or. Right?
I recommend either one. Yes.
Yeah, you can do either one.
I think Coop Ale Works would too, but I can't speak for them.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. We've talked a lot about the defense. We've talked a lot about the offense. One of the things that I think maybe, can be overlooked in these games is, it is UCLA. You have Iowa State coming next. And I heard people talk about, could OU be overlooking UCLA because Iowa State's on the horizon? But you think about it, Iowa State did beat the Sooners last year. It was before that they played Iowa. And I thought it was interesting that Lincoln Riley, he was asked about Iowa State after the game, and I kind of thought his answer was interesting.
We're ready. This is one we've been, really excited to play. You guys know how we feel about playing on the road. We love it. And so home's been great here the first 2 weeks, man. 2 sellout crowds, another great atmosphere again today. It's been a great start to the home season, and we're looking forward now to getting out on the road, beginning our conference battle here against a good opponent. So that'll be big.
It's not too early to talk about motivation from last year's loss to them, is it?
Kind of like the Ohio State deal. I mean, that's, a couple years ago. If that's the only thing that motivates us, then, we got problems. We're hungry to try to go win another Big 12 title, and that starts here this week.
To me, that kind of shows a little bit of the mindset of the team, which is it's not really a revenge game as much as it is a way to kind of start 1-0 in the Big 12.
I think it's more so not as much vengeance as much as just a, get ready to mark this, a shut the f*** up game.
You need some of those along the way.
You need them, and I think it would be a good.
I mean, game one was one of those.
Yeah.
Against FAU. By the way, what did you tweet about Chris Robinson?
I didn't tweet anything.
Somebody he set the school record.
He set the school record. Bob did.
He set the school record today
for passing
yards
in a game.
Boom.
Now who'd they play? South Carolina State or somebody? It was somebody bad.
Somebody in the SEC was playing South Carolina. So those teams are booked, Eddie. SEC has all of them.
Yeah, that's true. Tell you what, and we can get into it later.
It was a shitty day of games.
Big 12 is awful.
Oh, I'm so livid. Iowa State, they screw us every year, the Big 12. They go and lose to Iowa, who's mediocre at best.
Scored 3 points.
Scored 3 points. TCU tried to suck against SMU, but finally pulled their heads out of their asses.
They at least pulled away. There's basically 4 teams in the Big 12. OU, West Virginia, TCU, and I'd even throw in OSU. I think that Oklahoma State.
But we will find that out next week with Boise.
I think Boise is going to.
We are going to find out.
Them.
Yes.
They very well could.
They're starting the second half up. Move thing 31-13 over South. That's not exactly promising.
It's Alabama. South Alabama. But Alabama.
By the way, poor Justice Hansen today. Or Justice Hansen.
They were my lock of the week, and that did not go well.
They were your lock of the week?
I thought 36.5, maybe. Not good, though.
57-7, I think, was the final.
Yeah,
yes, it was.
I think he might have gotten pulled just for some
really?
safety.
Yeah. Well, I saw
Warren Wand had a decent day.
I saw a picture of Nick Saban when they were up 40-0, and it looked like they were in the national championship game. I mean, he was going insane.
Bob, remind us what was going on with recruiting today.
In terms of
who came in,
they had all the official visitors were commits.
Okay,
but they did have some unofficial visitors, and a couple that I was interested in. Prince Dorba.
Oh yeah, Prince Dorba.
2020 class.
Big kid,
and
linebacker.
Ethan Downs, 2021 from Weatherford, might end up being one of the top prospects in the entire state. And
Weatherford, Oklahoma.
Yes.
Wow.
Not only was it big for
see Lance Donnelly's kid
for football, it was big for basketball because you had.
Could you be Lance Donnelly's kid?
I don't think.
But he had to knock up one of his grade school teachers or something.
Even I'm not going there.
Yeah, Trey Young.
They made a movie about it.
Russell Westbrook, Buddy Hield, all on the field, and OU basketball was doing their best to bring in some top kids too.
Russell Westbrook wore a UCLA jersey personalized with Westbrook on the back.
Uh-huh.
That's the coolest shit I've ever seen. So awesome.
Because he's Russell Westbrook.
Because he's Russell Westbrook, most importantly.
But, he could literally go play in a game. How many people can wear a jersey and literally still go play in a game?
Not very many.
On the back.
Not very many. And he did it today. It was pretty cool, though. I mean...
can you imagine Baker Mayfield just showing up at a game with his own Browns jersey?
Tre Young wore a Baker Mayfield jersey.
Yeah, I saw that. I guess it would be more like if Baker Mayfield went to, I'm trying to think this through. My head's going to explode. Baker Mayfield would have to go to a basketball game and wear his college jersey with his name on the back of it, like an NBA game.
That'd be the biggest douche move ever. You can't wear your own.
But Russell Westbrook got away with it.
You can't wear a football jersey to a basketball game. There's rules about that.
Russell wore a basketball to a football game.
No, it was the football uniform.
Oh,
no, it's football. So
okay.
Baker's got to wear a basketball jersey.
An OU basketball jersey.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he has to go to an
it doesn't really work.
basketball game and then wear an OU basketball jersey. Okay, that doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't
I
work.
know it was a football jersey. I thought Russell was wearing a basketball jersey.
No.
It was a
Never mind then. Okay, it is time for what I think is my favorite segment that we have, and I'm sorry, I'm loving. You're not supposed to tell people what children you love the most, but this has become my favorite segment on all of our podcasts.
Whose stock is up and whose stock is down? It's time for the AMC Mortgage Stock Report. If you're on the move, check in with AMC Mortgage for all your home loan needs.
All right, I want to tell you guys about Kyle McCord with AMC Mortgage, one of my good friends. We'll do that here after this segment. But guys, the stock report, something that I've come to enjoy, even though this is only our second week of doing it. But this is such a different game against UCLA because there's some guys, the starters didn't play or played a lot more. The backups come in late. We should mention Levi Draper was on special teams. I think Eddie pointed that out late.
I did.
Yeah, I have video of him pregame.
He exists.
I don't know where that started.
Anyway, just stock up. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, we've talked a lot about him in the podcast. Where's stock on Kyler Murray? It has to have raised a little bit, didn't it, today?
Here's what's crazy. We have not talked about him. He threw for 306 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he ran for 2 more, and yet it didn't feel like that good of a game.
It's got to be his career high, doesn't it? Like, he's never thrown... I don't know if he's thrown for 300 yards in a game.
Can we get the A&M game back on?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
They just tied it up.
They went for 2?
I think so. Maybe not.
You're going inside podcast.
Sorry. What?
Mark Jackson, though, to me, is the leader of stock up today.
Yeah, Kyler Murray. Where are we on through 2 games? I mean, he only played a quarter and a half last week, but
so is it 550 or 561? Is that where he is
total
on the season? Because he had 250 right in the first game.
Yeah, and then 3. What was it?
Hold on, I got FAU stats right here.
19 for 33, an interception, 306, 3 touchdowns.
He had
today.
209 in the first game.
Right.
2 touchdowns.
So 209 plus 306. You guys do the math out there.
512.
515. 515.
And 3 touchdowns. So 515, 3 touchdowns. That's where we are.
He's shown nice touch on the deep ball. What is probably one of the tougher throws, that little dunk pass or the screen pass, that probably needs a little bit of work.
It needs a lot of work.
Outside of that, though, I mean, I think he's done everything that you could ask for. The scrambling ability is just incredible. But he hasn't made any major mistakes. The one interception in the end zone today, it was going to be a tough play for anybody to come down with it. It ended up getting called back anyways.
Passes blocked today.
That's what I was going to say. The overreaction with Kenneth Murray not having a tackle. Are we overreacting to passes being batted down from Kyler?
No, because it happened with Baker. It's just that it didn't happen very often. Now, when it happens on 3rd and long, then you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah, I think that stuff will work itself out. I mean, it's going to happen. He's a short guy back there.
I mean, the quarterback for UCLA had some passes batted down.
Yeah.
One by Buki.
Buki had one. Kenneth Mann had one. I think those were the only 2. But
basically, don't we have to say everybody on the defensive line stock up today?
Absolutely. They all played.
Mark Jackson maybe at the top of that list just because... I think his stock raised higher than anyone's today because nobody expected anything out of Mark Jackson.
Exactly. I mean, you went in just being sad about not having Gums, Jalen Redmond, and then here's Mark Jackson showing you, hey, don't forget about me. I can make some plays if you give me the chance. And that's what I talked all week. Ronnie Perkins is going to move in. They're going to make it a 4-man front. Because Jackson,
people were like, can you move Curtis Bolton there and just
Caleb Kelly, or just move someone.
Everybody's trying to move all these pieces around.
You don't have to.
You don't have to do that now because Mark Jackson is showing you he can play.
And on the other side, I thought Ryan Jones had a pretty good day.
Yeah, he did, and they played a lot on the field together. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but they had the Jack and the Sam on the field together a lot today.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they don't feel it's an obvious passing situation, that's going to be the defense. I don't think they say the nickel will be the base defense. I just see it as it's dictated by personnel, whether or not Justin Broyles or Ryan Jones come into the game. Just like last year, it was Will Johnson, Caleb Kelly, where they kept them both and then they waited. That's the case this year. It's Jones and Broyles.
I'm going to say stock up, even though it's high already, but stock up on CeeDee Lamb strictly for the one-handed catch that almost was on the side. I didn't know he had that in him.
Stock up.
Again, it was crazy.
Tre Brown gets the stock
massive.
up for sure. Not only what he's been able to do in tackling game and secondary, but you add in that kickoff return capability, look out. And we are the biggest Tre Brown homers anyway.
By the way, Justin Broiles didn't have any tackles today.
That's kind of strange. I would have figured that he did, but I thought he played well back there.
Neither did Parnell Motley. Both in trouble on the board.
They both had a breakup.
They did. Offensively, I'm going to say stuck down on the offensive line as a whole. Didn't create a lot of running lanes. Kyler Murray was your leading rusher today. UCLA was not known as an overly physical front on the defensive side of the ball. I just don't think they brought it today.
How much of that is working Creed Humphrey in there and just as far as protections?
I thought Drew Samia had a rough day.
Did he? I really couldn't tell. It's so hard for me to tell down there, at least down on the field, to see how everything works out with those guys on the offensive line.
Stock down, Khalil Houghton.
Definitely. That was one of mine. Because, I mean, he got burned for the big one, but he could have got burned for others if they would have looked that direction more. Caleb Wilson was open time and time again. I was a little shocked that Buki wasn't going against Wilson. I'm going to go stock down Trey Sermon. When Rodney went down, thought Trey was going to carry the load. 7 carries, 13 yards. It wasn't until Sutton actually came in to when the running game started to get going again.
You know, Trey does that thing where he stops. He tries to be too deliberate. Like he tries to be kind of too Le'Veon Bell. He tries to be overly patient when most of the time he just needs to run.
And I'm going to have a tongue-in-cheek one here. Lee Morris, first catch that wasn't a touchdown.
That happened today,
Take
didn't
that
it?
scholarship away.
Gets the scholarship. Now he can't find the end zone.
I think I told Bob this was my first stock up before we started today. And it is for Lincoln Riley for getting creative with the fullback position, which also might also coincide with Carson Meyer's stock down. Although I don't know if that's fair.
No, the stock up is Troy James.
Yeah, Troy James' stock is up because he was the defensive tackle they put in the game. Actually, Bob screamed at someone who doubted the validity that it was Troy James that was in the game.
That was, it's not a big deal in hindsight, but the 4th and 1 that they weren't able to pick up, or 4th and 2,
it was ugly.
That can change a game. Further down the line, it changed the complexion of a game, changed momentum if you're unable to pick that up. So it wasn't blocked very well. I think Creed Humphrey missed a guy.
Yeah, because that's what was weird. Like Troy James got his dude. It was from the weak side. It was like you didn't think on a 4th and 1 that guy would come into play.
Not a good look.
All right, stock up, stock down. Joy doing it every week. I want to remind you guys that is brought to you by Kyle McCord of AMC Mortage, a guy that I've known for a long time, really good dude. If you guys are looking for a mortgage company or someone to take care of your mortgage needs, he's done loans for a lot of my on-air colleagues at the radio station. His team's been originating loans in Oklahoma together for over 16 years. And in addition to standard conventional FHA, VA, and jumbo financing, Kyle McCord with AMC Mortgage specializes in first-time home buyers and loans requiring down payment assistance. He is a huge Sooner fan, season ticket holder. He's an alum of OU. His grandfather actually was a halfback on Bud Wilkinson's first few teams. But you can contact Kyle McCord with AMC Mortgage at 405-623-3802, 405-623-3802. Give him a call. It's Kyle McCord with AMC Mortgage, NMLS number 1256166, an equal housing opportunity lender. Bob, why are you going nuts?
Jimbo Fisher should get flagged.
Oh, because he's going nuts.
He's going nuts.
A&M just fumbled the ball through the end zone. 1 yard line.
Oh, the guy's crying.
What a pussy.
I knew that was coming. I sent the bat signal out. Eddie has not heard this, but Bob and I have previewed. I I sent the bat signal out for voicemails.
We get any?
We got some.
All right.
We definitely did.
Let's take some calls.
I can't remember which were the good ones now. I think it was the last two. We did get some really depressing ones that were just sitting around from the Rose Bowl.
Oh,
that was bad. Like, I felt really bad.
Put anybody on suicide watch.
One said that he was gonna kill himself.
Yeah.
So here, let's just see what happens.
Hey, Kerry, this is Leon and Blanchard sitting here on the porch with my nice Coop F5, watching these damn Aggies. Anyways, I'm not sure I'm ready to buy in on this defense, and I'm not sure why everyone's so quick to rush to the defense of Mike Stoops now, praising these young guys, when we only have Ronnie Perkins and that Cookie Radley Hiles only making one tackle. How are we so quick to jump back and defend Stoops in this defense? Just wondering what your guys' thoughts is on that, and thank you. Scoop up. Have a good one, y'all.
Scoop up. I like that.
Leon, appreciate the voicemail. I will say, Cookie Bradley Riles did have 2 tackles. We had more than one. 2 tackles. There you go. I mean, that's someone who's mad at... I asked, when will someone be critical of Buki? I think that was the first person.
Well, it's dumb. It's a dumb take. It's almost as dumb as being mad at Kenneth Murray after the first game. If you can't sit there and watch the difference between this defense and the shit that they threw out there the last couple years, you probably should just quit watching football.
I can tell that somebody is doing a hick accent because it makes the transcription really hard to read. Let's try this one.
Hey, boys, Evan in Arkansas. First order of business, Eddie. Let's address the diving for the ball in the end zone. Complete electric factory. What a look. It was a beatdown, but it didn't feel like one. OU kind of looked and felt slow at times. It was a quiet 49-14, whatever it was. I don't think much to take away from it. The only thing I would say is Murray, a little bit concerned with the balls being tipped at the line. And when Anderson went out, they really looked like they had a lull offensively. Not much to parse with a win like that, but if we're a team that wants to compete for a championship, something to keep an eye on. Defense looked great again, ready for Buki to have that first pick six. And just like Eddie said, every male in the stadium. Thanks again, guys. Take it easy.
Great call. Great call.
That seems like a plant by you.
We appreciate it.
Evan in Arkansas.
That's a great call, Evan. I did recover a fumble in the end zone this afternoon.
It was a kickoff, right?
It was a kickoff, yeah.
It came right to you?
Came right to me, right in front of me. Had to get down on the all fours to go grab it, but I think that's a fair assessment of what we saw today. It seemed like an ass kicking, but was a lot closer probably than people would have hoped for. But at the end of the day, I think that it was needed in a way. I almost in a way for this team to go on the road next weekend, I think they needed a not a speed bump like they had today, but they needed some adversity
really a
offensively.
Wake-up call.
Yeah, it wasn't a wake-up call, but it was. They definitely have some things to work on, and I think that everybody that wanted to crown them at the end of the week, at the end of the weekend last week, probably that's premature. But I do think that they're taking steps. They're really young, and it's going to be kind of fun to see how it all shapes up.
Did we talk about Lincoln and the Bolitnikoff jerseys and all that?
No, that was a great quote though. Do we have that?
Yeah, we have that. Here's the thing, like I was talking to JD Reynolds about this earlier. Like I know there's going to be coaches, the old school coaches that look at Lincoln Riley and they're like, he's too flashy and he cares, he's too into recruiting and these kids need discipline and he's too friends with them. Like they're just going to be that way because that's the way old coaches are. That's built into their DNA.
If you're saying that you need to catch up with the 21st century.
I don't want to name any names, but I know people are saying that.
Well, those people are idiots.
Anyway.
certain coaches that might have gone 0-10 and 1.
I bet people that are recruiting against Lincoln Riley at other schools feel that way because they're jealous and they're old school.
It's jealousy, and I think it's probably there's a reason why people are saying that probably aren't in the coaching business
But
anymore.
I think we can say that Lincoln Riley, he values publicity. He values flash. He values youth culture.
Look at the video shit that they're doing and the Cali Sooners video that they sent out on Friday night before the game. And
I thought that was kind of like new age trash talk in a way.
I didn't really take it that
You're
way.
getting ready to play UCLA. Who is one of the flagship universities in California?
UCLA had every opportunity to recruit those kids.
I know, but you're launching out this campaign of look at these 8 Cali guys that are making it big here. F you.
I didn't really.
It was a nice middle finger.
I didn't really see it that way.
I'm here for it. I'm not criticizing.
No, I didn't see it that way as far as I didn't think it was anything out of the ordinary. But you're right. That shit never would have happened under Bob.
No,
I
would have been like,
I don't think that would have
it's a
ever
little
happened.
disrespectful. We can't do that.
I appreciate it. I think that they need to do more of it.
Well, and one of the things that I found interesting was the way that Lincoln responded to the almost catch that Lincoln Riley made, or that CeeDee Lamb made. The catch that CeeDee made that was out of bounds.
Yeah.
I assume you've seen that out of him before, or is that?
Yeah, I mean he's capable of making some spectacular ones. That was a shame his foot wasn't down. That was pretty good. That's pretty good. We've seen him, practice this, that. We see him do some pretty good stuff. Am I surprised he caught it? No. Now was it awesome? Damn right it was.
Yeah, I think he threw that in there for a soundbite. Like, I think he's like, there's some things I think he says that he's like, oh, this is going to make a great social media post. I think that was one of them, but not as much as his answer that I asked him about. Last week, Marquis Brown and CeeDee Lamb both came into the postgame press conference wearing retro, flashy Fred Biletnikoff jerseys, throwbacks kind of things. Although, didn't they have like gold numbers on them?
I don't remember. I don't think so. I think they were the
I didn't
legitimate
think so. No.
Legit throwback stuff. So, that's kind of bold. I mean, you're basically saying we're going to win the Biletnikoff. By the way, Texas A&M has scored. Clemson, you are not ready for the big time. They're trying to tie it up. So Lincoln Riley, I asked him about, what do you think about guys doing that kind of stuff? And this is pretty cool. Lincoln, after last week, I talked to Marquis earlier this week. He talked about buying the Biletnikoff jersey with CeeDee over the summer. When your players show up and stuff like that, what goes through your mind? Do you like it, guys?
No, I love it. I mean, if you don't think you're any good, you got no chance. You got no chance. So there's a line. There's, of being, respecting the game, respecting your, how hard it is. But you got to believe in yourself, man. This game's too hard as it is, and if you don't believe in yourself, you have no chance. So I want our players to be confident. If they're putting in the work off to the side and getting done what they need to get done within these walls, then things like that are fun. Our guys enjoy it, and I've got zero issue with it.
So I think a lot of coaches see that stuff as a distraction. It is interesting to me that Lincoln Riley embraces that.
No, I think it's kind of a unique look into the psychology of what they're doing from a recruiting standpoint, and I think that it is good. I think that kids these days kind of not necessarily. I don't know if enjoy it is the right word, but I think they really gravitate towards something like that.
All right, Sooners win it 49-21. 21. I don't even have my sheet in front of me anymore. It wasn't 63-14, but look, that was a better team than FAU. I don't know what FAU is going to do this year, but to me, that was a much better team, especially defensively. Just the talent. They might not have had the running back. They might not have had even a receiver as good as the West Virginia transfer. Well, I think Caleb Wilson was pretty good. But defensively, they were a really good team.
Yeah.
By the way, as we sit here, Clemson intercepted the 2-point try.
So, Eddie, how bad of a beat was that last Bruins touchdown?
I mean, it was pretty bad. It's probably your fault if you took OU in 30 anyways.
I think this would be the point of the season where I give up gambling. Because I would totally suck.
Gambling's not for quitters.
All right, we're going to be back again next with the Choctaw Casino and Resort Unofficial 40 coming up. By the way, I tried to explain this kind of on Twitter. You have to subscribe to both podcasts. You cannot get the post game by being subscribed to the Unofficial 40. So they're both on iTunes. Just look up Oklahoma Sooners on any platform, iTunes, Google, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and look for Soonerscoop.com. We got two different podcasts. One is called the Oklahoma Sooners Unofficial 40. That's not this podcast. That's our regular podcast. And the other is called Oklahoma Sooners Postgame. That's this podcast. So if you're here, you probably understand all this stuff, and I don't need to explain it to you anyway. But we want to thank Eskridge Lexus, the official travel partner, because we are getting ready to travel for the first time next week as we head to Iowa State. It's going to be interesting because that'll be our first road podcast of the season. And
you're bringing all the equipment with you?
I will be bringing equipment, not this equipment, the secondary equipment. I'll have a travel version of all of this. So we'll be doing that next week, but each and every week, thanks to Eskridge Lexus, you're going to have a post-game podcast for every game that's played. So thanks to Eddie, thanks to Bob, thanks to all of you for listening, thanks to Eskridge, thanks to Coop Ale Works, thanks to Kyle McCord with AMC Mortgage. Go support those sponsors, folks. They make this possible, and we really appreciate you. We'll see you guys back here next time on the Oklahoma Sooners Postgame Podcast, presented by Eskridge Lexus of Oklahoma City.
Podcasts from Soonerscoop.com.